Welcome to another edition of Bowie TV Sports Spotlight. During this hour, we're bringing you highlights from our show's focus on all things sports in the DMV. Please be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. First up, Pitt Sports Zone. Coach Kyle Jackson of Bowie State talks about what makes this year's team so special. Next, on Flip the Script, we hear part 2 of Jade Courtlandt's takes on the hottest topics in sports. On Baltimore Ravens Rundown, we take a look at highlights and press conferences from Week 3's loss against the Detroit Lions. Lastly, we catch up with Candi Waller on Coaching from the Couch for a recap of the Washington Commanders' Week 3 win against the Las Vegas Raiders. Don't go anywhere, and as always, enjoy this week's episode of Bowie TV Sports Spotlight. Yo, what's going on? Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pitts. Pitts on Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV. Coming to you live tonight. Hey, listen, y'all know we got my guy, my day one from the beginning when we started. Coach Kyle Jackson, Bowie State University head football coach. How you doing, bro?
What's up, my guy, man? Appreciate you for having me, man. I'm glad we was able to make it work and get on and spend some time with you.
Man, listen, always and forever. So look, I know you in transit. I know you guys got an away game, right? So I'm not gonna hold you too long. I know you gotta get your rest too. Put you on the curfew, but if you can just talk a little bit about the team makeup this year. Going from spring camp to fall, and through the first 2 games. What you have seen from your team so far.
Oh man, it's been a process, man. It's going into year 4. You're talking about some guys who've been along for the ride throughout this time, man. And I always talk about the growth, and when I speak to the guys, just talk about the maturity, and things like that. Seeing that in the guys, man. You're seeing the transition to the field. However, you talk about man, we brought in a class about 25, 26 freshmen. Also with a good amount of transfers as well. So we have a lot of the same guys, but we have a lot of new guys as well. So these first 2 weeks, man, just been trying to find that chemistry, putting the best guys on the field together. And it's a process. It's the early parts of it. Just still trying to figure out who's who and who do what well. And just putting the right product on the field, man. But it's been lessons from both games. You talk about going up and playing a PSAC school, which is a strong conference, and being able to get a good non-conference win. Then going to Delaware State, and competing with an FCS program. There were some mistakes that were made. However, like I say, in all losses, there are lessons that come with it. So this week was one of those things where we tried to focus on the little things, getting the guys to do the small things right. And it was a better week of practice. Now we just got to put it all together and go compete tomorrow.
Yeah, and shout out to 6. Hassan, what up, bro? Hassan says, Coach K. Jagger, man of leadership, opportunities, wisdom, etc. Much love.
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
So when you talk about, bringing on 25, 26 freshmen and transfers, and you're mixing them, you're blending them with the culture of the team that was already established last year. Can you kind of talk about that? How do you foster a positive team culture, and what values are most important to you and the team and your vision for your team going forward?
Well, as a head coach, man, my platform is culture. All right, like I think in all team aspects, you got to have a strong culture in order for you to be successful. So we try to preach those things to those guys, and like you said, it's an acronym. Um, it's an acronym that we utilize for the guys to try to foster that type of environment. Like I said, we brought in some older guys at some positions that we felt that we needed some experience. But we also brought in some younger guys at some positions that we knew that we needed some youth to challenge and push, that room. So just like I say, just finding the right mix, man. Like I say, within the different rooms to help us grow. Like I say, we're looking to enhance those rooms. We're looking to enhance those rooms to help us just be more productive, man. Like I said, we lost some production with some guys leaving last year, so added some guys to the mix to kind of help that. But you got to find, in football, the ultimate team sport, man. You're just trying to mix all these personalities together to get that perfect final product, and
Yeah.
go be successful with it. So we're doing different things. We did a lot of different team activities throughout the summertime. One, that stood out the most, man. We went and did an activity at a Marine base, and it was really about that whole deal was about leadership, so giving all guys a different opportunity to lead at different times, and that was eye opening for us as a program, um, and it was something that we was able to grow from. So just trying to challenge our guys to be leaders when it's their time to lead, but also understanding the best leaders are also were once great followers. So
Yeah.
figuring out the roles and going with the punches from there.
Not only that, when you talk about taking them to a military base and you talk about, developing and understanding the true definition of leadership, you also throw in the discipline, the hard work, and the teamwork, right? Because the military can't function on one person alone. It takes it
100%.
takes all of them to want, to work together to build that continuity amongst themselves, even, on the fields of battle. So definitely, and that kind of leads me into, you, for those who may not know you or may not know who Coach Kyle Jackson is like I do, right? Me knowing intimately, being around you for the last 5 years, can you share with those, like, just share a little bit about your coaching philosophy, right? Some of the things of how your coaching philosophy and how it shapes the team and the play style that you want.
My coaching philosophy, like I say, we talk about culture. So you talk about commitment, understanding, leadership, trust, unity, respect, and effort. I feel like those seven things foster a great environment for a winning program or just a winning environment. So
Yeah,
with those seven things, I feel like we can be unbeatable. We are unbeatable in anything that we do, as long as we work on those seven things. However, like a lot of guys that hear me talk about it, man, I'm a big opportunity guy. It's a difference between talking about it, getting the opportunity, and then actually
uh-huh.
taking advantage of the opportunity that's given to you as well. So, you sit around, on the different social medias and things like that. You hear guys talking about, hey, all I need is opportunity, coach. All I need is opportunity. Well, now that you got it, what are you doing with it?
Yeah,
So that's my mindset. All my guys know that, man. It's like, hey, I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm giving you the platform to do it. Now take advantage of it and be the best version of it. So, like I say, culture, like I said, that's one of the things that we drive. And, it's really, when it comes to culture, you have to drive that every day. It's the little
right.
things that you had to make sure that you're addressing when they're not right. It's something that you got to work at every day if you want it to be strong. So, like I say, that's my biggest thing: building a team culture, a winning team culture, and it starts with making sure that the little things are done right.
When you talk about, the team right now, they're 1-1. They played an opponent last week. Had a friendly, familiar face on the other side, and Coach Naima Washington. How can you just share your experience of what those moments are like to be able to coach against either people that you play with or that's coached with you?
Oh man, that was a great experience, man. Like I say, man, Nemo Washington, man, I'm super proud of him. Like I say, Nemo was a few years after me at Bowie State. However, seeing him grow in his coaching career, man, and then getting an opportunity to be on the same field with him, just on opposite sides, man, it was a great feeling. Never great, not coming out on the right side of it, but seeing the
Yeah,
growth in that, man, it's like I say, it's at the end of the day, the football game. When it's football time, it's football time. We take care of business, but before the game, after the game, man, it was nothing but love. So it was a great experience, man. You talk about that Bowie State coaching tree, man, that started some time ago, man, and just watching it blossom. We all in different places doing great things, man. So just being able to share that moment, man, that was monumental.
how did it feel for you as the head coach of Bowie State when the top 50 players came out, the watch list for top 50, and you seen Micah Robinson's name on that list?
Oh man, I probably smiled a little harder than I usually do, just because I mean, a lot of people know Micah Robinson for what he did last year, but a lot of people don't know Micah Robinson's story. Micah
Yeah,
Robinson was a walk-on at Bowie State University, who honestly didn't even receive an invite to camp his first year, and all Micah asked for was an opportunity. And when he got the opportunity, he ran with it. And now you talk about him being, one of the best backs in the country. Being one of the best backs in the conference. So you talk about the hard work that he's put in. And he's a great young man at the end of the day. Like, he smiles, he's excited about where he is. He just take advantage of the moment, and it shows. Like I say, he's a good football player, but an even better person.
Sounds like the definition that you seek upon the players that join your program when you talk about the acronym of culture. Very selfless.
Absolutely. Mike is a true definition. That's why he's one of our captains for this 25-26 year.
Coach, before we look ahead to Livingstone, we look back at last week's matchup against Delaware State. What are some of the positive takeaways that you saw from your team, even in the face of defeat?
We kept fighting, man. That's all you ask for, perseverance. We faced some adversity earlier on, but the guys never went down on themselves. They kept fighting, and that's all that you really want. At the end of the day, good things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. It's the game of football. It's really about how you respond to things, and to see those guys rally around each other and keep fighting, that's all you can ask for. You can build upon that. Now, like you say, some negative things did happen, or with some things, but you coach through those moments. So, like I say, man, it's never really about the loss. It's about the lessons that come from it, and if you can grow from it. So, it was definitely a lot of things that came from that game.
Your opponent's skin. Like, I ain't gonna tell y'all some of the things I used to say or have said, but it's a different situation when it comes in a loss, right? I think Michael Jordan said it best. Y'all go watch The Last Dance, and he said the telltale signs of a man is if you can talk crap when it's 0, right? Not when you up, not when you're down, but when that score 0-0.
Yeah,
that's all, right? And it's when it comes across like a sore loser, and then you also go and you attack somebody's character. Like, we all know as Black people, like, to call us uneducated is kind of crazy, right? Especially when I carry myself a certain way, I made it to a certain level. So, again, another young person I met, man. Like, shout out to Taylor Townsend for
she can be real cute.
Not going where she could have gone with it. Gonna move on to this next topic, man. Where trash talk is I think is invited, right? It's been happening for a couple of months now. And
before we continue, I'm also a former athlete. My husband doesn't believe that triply is a sport, but I compete, and it's a sport. I competed, okay, and there was a lot of trash talk, but it would just be yelling at each other from across, doing cheers and stuff.
Yeah,
so we wasn't
y'all wasn't gonna come to blows.
I went to McGarry High School, and Antioch High School was our rival, and they used to get, I used to be like, get about here.
I was brush your face.
Ooh, I scream.
What? Don't do that. We're not
fine. We're not all Metro National schools. Anyway, so we're talking about the upcoming NFL season and what to expect. So we definitely have been tuned in to some of the preseason games. I was able to go to the Titans and the Vikings preseason game, and I had a jolly old good time. And I'm really excited to see what Cam Ward is going to continue to do, because he has stepped up so much. I'm so proud that we chose him. He's a really stand-up guy, and I love the way they played. Of course, the Titans is going to tighten. That's what I like to say. But we still came out with the win, so I have high hopes, because we've been getting beat on these last couple years, and I'm hanging in there. I
mean, it's NFL season, all right? It's NFL regular season, so preseason. It's the preseason, right? It's for the guys that may or may not.
Like scrimmage.
Yeah, it's for the guys that may or may not make the roster. You're trying to impress coaches and other NFL teams. I think also, like she said, like Cameron, right? Which that's what we say, my name Cameron, so call him No, it's all good, man. It's all good. We good and we learn. I got corrected. So, shout out to him. But I think Cameron Ward is going to be fine. I think he's the bright spot for the team. And I think there's some other guys on this team, on that Titans team, that could do some great things this year, especially, with a young team like that, you can really make a name for yourself. Mm-hmm. But some of the other teams, I think that want to step up. Honestly, I think the New York Giants have a better season.
You know what? Yeah.
Shout out to Jackson Dart.
I was so sad that Jackson Dart. I wasn't sad, but it would have been cool for him to come to the Titans, because I definitely would have pitched myself as a personal photographer, because he legitimately knew me and was like, "Hey, yeah, can I get that?" Of course. So in my mind, we're best.
Still be his personal photographer. You know what I mean? I'm okay with one to New York.
The Giants do look good though, and they have really good chemistry.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to be a better team this year, especially with Noah Carter. Some of the additions that they made. Let me see, man. I'm trying to think of the teams that could really like bounce back.
What you think about the Falcons?
I said this last year, and I was kind of poking the bear a little bit, but I'll say it again. There's going to be a lot of hype around Atlanta. Mm-hmm. If you think the Super Bowl, just don't sign yourself up for disappointment. I think that team is a little too young. I think they're still trying to figure it out, right? So I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to push the top of that division. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still a team to beat, though.
What do you think about the Lions or the 49ers?
Like it's the top of the NFC is pretty much the Philadelphia Eagles and everybody else. Yeah. So, 49ers, the issue with the 49ers is, again, that they're a team with a bunch of young guys.
I was like to see the Commanders and the Ravens, too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, sophomore slumps are a thing. Yeah. Yeah. And then with the Ravens, Ravens fans can kill me, but I don't trust Lamar Jackson. It's every year, MVP caliber season, rushing record, this great performance here is a great performance here. He's near the top of the league. Someone says he's the best quarterback in the NFL, and then he meets up against, goes up against a Josh Allen or a Doper or Patrick Mahomes, and he forgets how to play football. And so, it's just one of them things where I gotta see him do it before I really put stock in the Ravens as a team, right? And you don't go as far as your quarterback goes, but tomorrow it's opening night. Philadelphia Eagles will be hoisting the banner.
They were playing the Cowboys.
I believe so.
Yeah, they're playing the Cowboys.
First game.
How do you think the Cowboys look? You think they're ready? You think they're?
They just traded away Michael Parsons. I don't think. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, I feel bad for you, son.
You think they're gonna get beat on?
I think they're gonna get stomped on the wall. But I mean, this could be one of them situations where it's addition by subtraction for them too, right? It's the NFL season. I never forget, it was a couple of years ago. Everybody thought the Chiefs were gonna the Detroit Lions were gonna come in, and it was just gonna be this is a write-off game. Yeah. The Chiefs gonna come in, they finna hoist the banner, they gonna beat up on the lowly old Lions, and they're gonna ride off into the sunset to week 2, and they went out there and got a handle. So it could be one of them situations where Jalen Hurts and them, and they see that banner up there, and they get a little too full of the sauce.
I don't agree with that.
And but it's football.
I mean, it could.
It's football.
They may have all the intentions of.
Yeah, it's any given Sunday. So it's just one of them things, man. You just never know. There's no.
I really like the have the honor of being twice. And they're also humble and sweet and funny.
I'm for them too. Until they beat the Titans one day, and and then I ain't gonna root for them. Let me not say that. I'm a loyalist. I'm loyal. We don't root for other teams out here, but Shout out to Jalen Hurts. Shout out to my guy, AJ Brown. Still got love for you, dog. It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't your fault.
Yeah, so
we're still recovering, AJ.
Yeah,
We're still recovering.
Clearly, still ain't got nobody as good as you. But
all right.
but those are the main topics. So to end the show, right? Since this is the first episode, we kind of are doing a segment that's called flipping the script, right? I don't know what that finger means, but that's not it.
We're flipping the script. You know, we're gonna play a little lighthearted game in this segment.
Yeah. So
Courtlandt, I just want to let y'all know how Courtlandt is the one who came up with the theme of this game. It wasn't my idea at all. So if you love the game, great. If not,
you got to deal with it because it's a part of the show. Flipping the script is basically where we take pop culture, where we truly mix pop culture and sports.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this, like, we're gonna take, you know, something maybe dealing with a movie, a new album, music, TV, and we're going to liken it to sports. Today's segment is going to be Marvel Zombies, right? Disney just announced they're releasing Marvel Zombies. If y'all don't know what that is, it's basically just Marvel characters that died and then they're bringing them back as zombies.
Are they bringing back T'Challa as a zombie? That's gonna trigger me.
Maybe not. I do know, like, Scarlet Witch, Thanos.
Thanos.
Yeah, they'll be coming back as zombies. I think there's like the whole zombies comic book run as well, but it's gonna be a show in the same kind of animation art as What If. But how we're gonna spin it on today's show is we're gonna pick two athletes, whether they be dead and or retired, to bring back if we could and put them back into their respective genre of sport or sport and give a reason why we want to.
Okay, so who I would bring back would be Muhammad Ali. And I would bring back Muhammad Ali because I think he's super smart, he was super funny, he was super witty, and he'll talk about you to your face and have you laughing so hard you're not realizing that he's insulting you. And he was a man of few words. So outside of his 1-2 punch liners he would give in interviews and stuff, you didn't really hear much about him. And I feel like now in the boxing game, it's more of a money grab. Like, it's all about who could get the bag. Like, like the opponent is the one that's gonna be doing all the talking. Like, yeah, I'm gonna slap you up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, knowing that they gonna lose. I mean, sometimes they win. Like, for example, when Logan Paul, who did he win a fight against?
He's trying Jake Paul, with Mike Tyson, but
yeah, it was a complete money. Like, it just wasn't real. It just seemed like it was for entertainment, but to me, it wasn't entertaining. And I would love to have seen Muhammad Ali in this day and age beating on all these boys that think that they are smart or witty or whatever.
And the talent in the heavyweight division, I think, is liking too. Like, I think with a guy like him, you saw the talent there, right? You saw the competitive nature. He wasn't afraid to fight a George Foreman or, you know, Joe Louis. Not Joe Louis, but dang, that's that brain fart. But he wasn't afraid to fight whoever you put in front of him. And I would love to have seen, like, Muhammad Ali go against, you know, Mike Tyson.
I know, yeah, that would be a good one.
Deontay, what's his name? Bronze Bomber. I would love to see, like, those fights and kind of him raise that bar and kind of keep that bar high. So that's a dope guy to bring back for sure.
Of course it is, and I thought of that out by myself. So the next person I would bring back is Michael Jordan, and that is so I can dead this conversation of, is Jordan better than LeBron James or is LeBron James better than Jordan? I would take both of them at their prime to play against each other once and for all, so we can see, even though statistically one is better than the other, but hey,
it's never gonna die. That's never gonna die. And I've been a big proponent of, when I do my top 10s, you know, basketball players of all time, there's a GOAT tier, right? There's 3 names in it. I don't care who you put in that number 1 spot. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Like, all three of them have a conversation to be had about how great they were, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, neither one of them have less than 4 championships.
Yeah.
None of them have less than, I believe, 4 MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a crap ton of all-stars and all-NBAs between the three of them. So it's just one of them conversations, like, I don't think it'd ever die, right? Yeah. It's always going to be who was better, Mike or LeBron. And then eventually, 20 years, 30 years from now, it'll be a new player that comes into that conversation. And I'm going to have to put my kids and my grandkids in a headlock and tell them you don't know how great LeBron, Raymond James was.
We're not gonna promote that. We're not be doing that.
Believe me, look, it's
that's one of the people that I would bring back. So who would you bring back?
Our first one, it used to be by and I think just because of how tragic his death was, it would be Kobe Bryant. Yeah. And the reason I would bring Kobe back, not even just to see him play again, of course, right? Like, I'm a big fan of Bean. If you know me, I'm a fan of Bean. Honestly, like, I think we miss his post career, right? Yeah. Like his post NBA career. He was doing like children's books. He was doing, like giving introspection into the game. He could break the game down as well as anybody, right? So you're talking about a guy who looked like Kobe on the court. We knew what he was, right? Like, to me, one of the top 5 greatest players to ever play the game. To many, the reason why they play basketball, right? So, still when I shoot, paper ball into the trash can, I yell. So it's just one of those things. But
do you make it like Kobe?
Of course.
Not. Of course not.
It'd be your own people. It'd be your own people.
Let's just be honest here. We're talking about honestly. Give me like it's a great life, you guys.
Look, she can't beat me on the court, and neither can us.
Why is it a competition? Obviously, I couldn't beat you on the court because this ain't no Monica and what's his name from Love and Basketball, because he tries to dog her out, and that ain't me. I get mad and I throw the ball at your glasses. So.
I don't work like on the court. But anyways.
Even better. I have a better chance because you can't see me.
But I might need to. Shout out to James Brody. But my second one that I would bring back is Steve McNair. And this is another reason he's another one I think because he again tragically was taken from us. I think we missed his post career. Yeah. Right? Like, this is a guy that could have offered something as a coach. He could have offered something as an analyst, right? Or just his camps, right? Were great, and you learned a lot at a Steve McNair camp. But bringing him back as a player, if I could have brought him back 2 years ago as a Titans quarterback, who knows, man? Who knows what would have happened? To watch him on the field was different, right? Yeah. That 99 season was magical. First year of them being in the new stadium, first year of them being the Tennessee Titans, and then it's like with the Oilers. Yeah, and then the 2003 season where he was forced to share the MVP with Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? So, and I think just so people could lay eyes on him again, this is a guy that, I'm get off my soapbox here in a minute, but when I asked Lorenzo Neal at the Super Bowl, to make a case for Eddie George and Steve McNair, he spoke eloquently about these two men and why they deserve to be in that, in that hallowed, hall. And so, shout out to Lorenzo. Yeah, shout out to Lorenzo Neal, man. Another great Tennessee Titan, one of the greatest fullbacks ever. Another guy who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, of course. But
This is Karita Parks with Bowie TV. The Baltimore Ravens dropped a pivotal Monday night football game to the Detroit Lions with a 38-30 loss. This was a game that the Ravens needed to win, and although they bounced back against the Browns, they faced a tough Kansas City team this weekend. The Ravens never really seemed to be clicking on offense and defense. Offensively, they went into halftime only down by 3 points, but the Lions were able to come out after halftime and slowly pull away. It was a Derrick Henry fumble. This is his third fumble in the first 3 games of the season that turned the tide of this game. It set up a field goal for the Lions and pretty much put them on the path to victory. Here's what Henry had to say after the game.
It's just crazy, man. 3 fumbles straight. Trying every day to fix a problem. Just keeps occurring, so I'm trying to work on it, man. I'm my worst critic, so I'm not gonna try to get myself up too much, but it's hard not to, and it's consecutive and consistent and doing the same thing.
On the defensive side of the ball, the Ravens were unable to stop the run, and they were not successful against the pass either, but the run game really got the best of them. They were missing Nnamdi Madubuike and Kyle Van Noy, 2 of their best pass rushers, and although it's next man up, it was a tall task stopping that Lions offense. After the game, I spoke to Marlon Humphrey and asked him what this defense needs to do to find consistency. I think it'll take to find some consistency on defense.
I think turnovers. I just don't. That's kind of what we preached all offseason. That's what we preached really every week, every day. So it's pretty simple, I think. You're just not going to win many games if you lose a turnover battle.
To echo Marlon Humphrey, there were no turnovers, and there also was no pressure on Jared Goff, and that allowed the Lions offense to be successful. As I mentioned earlier, the Ravens have a short week. They see Kansas City this weekend, and linebacker Teddy Buchanan basically said this is another game that they have to flush. In a short week, what steps do you think you could take to have an improved performance going against Kansas City?
We're going to watch the tape and learn from it. And, we play in 6 days, so it's right on to Kansas City. We'll flush it. And like Coach said, we're going to play our best football on Sunday.
This is Karita Parks with Bowie TV. That has been your Ravens Rundown. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Bowie TV Sports. You can also find us on Comcast in Prince George's County.
Okay, hard-fought game. Hats off to the Lions. They did the things they needed to do to win the game, and our guys fought, but we didn't do the things we needed to do to win the game. We got some things we need to get better at, things we're going to be disappointed in when we watch that tape, things we got to get better at. Our focus right now has got to be toward Kansas City, and that's what we're going to do. We'll get ready for that game and get ready to go play. What questions do you have?
John, I know you have a much more detailed answer when you watch the film, but just out there watching the run defense, what do you think was the biggest problem?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to give you the biggest problem. The biggest problem is we didn't play good run defense. I mean, we didn't, as a defense complete, we didn't do it, and that's not going to be good enough. There's nobody in that locker room who thinks that's good enough. That's disappointing. That's bad run defense, and that's not who we are. It cannot be who we are. It's not going to be good enough. It's not going to be acceptable, and it's got to be better.
John, specifically, how do you feel like the absences of Nnamdi and Kyle?
I don't really have those measurements right now. It's hard to measure that at this point. But you play with the guys that are out there, and the guys that are out there are good enough to do it. We as coaches got to figure it out, and we got to get it done.
Do you have any update on Nnamdi's health?
I do not.
Joe, what do you think they were doing on Lamar? Was it a spy situation that was giving you guys some problems offensively, or?
I don't think you could just put it in one category. I mean, we threw the ball pretty good, and Lamar made some extended plays. He made some on-time throws, and trying to move around in the pocket and make some plays. They got us on some sacks when you're trying to throw the ball like that at the end of the game too. So I'm not sure what your question is really, but they play good defense, and we were competing on offense. We didn't run the ball as well as we wanted to either. That had a lot to do with it. I think I'd like to see us run the ball better.
John, last week, you guys were pretty physical. It seemed like this week Lions were pretty physical with both lines, defensive and offensive. Did you feel like they were just more physical up front there?
Yeah, I'm not really putting words and terms on it. I just think we can play better than we did for sure.
John,
We need to play better than we did.
Sorry, Derrick Henry's been able to take care of the ball throughout his career to this point this year. Fumbling has been an issue. I mean, what do you even say to him, considering this hasn't been the norm for him?
Yeah, it hasn't been, and I don't think it'll be going forward. But we got to get it fixed. I mean, that was kind of a blind shot there. Thought he had the ball in good position. I thought the defender got a good look at it though, because it was kind of a retrace cutback play. So a little bit the perfect storm, but still, I mean, we just want to protect the football. All our guys do, and we gotta do it. We gotta be good at it.
Yeah, I apologize to Rock Nation, and just keep working and get this fixed.
Is there, can you talk about working on it? I mean, is there a technical thing that you can even work on? Like, how do you work on it?
This is trying to implement those situations and be more cautious and just try to hold it as tight as you can. Now, I didn't see the guy coming from behind. Just kind of hold on to the ball. He won't even play. And I don't know. Just got to keep working. That's all I can think of. This sucks right now. That's y'all.
Derrick, we saw obviously you were upset on the sideline. Lamar was talking about it and said, there's still more game to play. It didn't take us out of the game, but when something like that happens, is it pretty tough to kind of recollect yourself and think about the opportunities that remain? Does it take a little bit of time?
Yeah, I'm my worst critic, so I'm gonna watch the film. I continue to watch it. I know we got a short week, but it's just crazy, man. 3 fumbles straight. Trying every day to fix a problem, just keeps occurring. So I'm trying to work on it, man. I'm my worst critic, so I'm not gonna try to get myself up too much, but it's hard not to, and it's consecutive and consistent. Me doing the same thing.
What did Lamar or anyone speak to you after that on the sideline?
I was talking to everybody trying to figure out what they saw, if I had the ball loose, and you just retrace and hammered at the ball, and it came loose. The guy you don't see, so I just got to be better and go back to work. Like I said, I apologize to teammates and coaches, our nation, just roughly below adversity, but adversity is a terrible thing to waste, so just gonna keep going.
Derrick, when the opposing offense has had success they did in a couple of long drives as well, does that put pressure on you guys as a group to, kind of match them and keep up and that sort of thing?
I think we just have the confidence we can go down and score in any situation. The players that we have, but they're a good team. We got a good offense. Had a lot of success today. Defense still just did their best and tried to hold them as much as they could. And by turnover, it's hard to put them back in the red zone, but we still have confidence in getting the job done.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the moral of the story. I feel like we were getting them in third downs, and they executed better than we executed. I think, usually, after a loss, even after, when things don't go well, you kind of have a pretty decent idea of kind of what went wrong. And, amongst the conversations I've had with the guys, it's on defense at least. It just, I don't know. We really don't. I know we're not going to win many games with giving up that many points, 0 turnovers, but as far as the answer to it, I don't really have one.
When you say you didn't know, does that just come down to execution, or did you feel like it was something game plan wise Detroit was doing that confused you guys?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't really say there was confusion. They had a couple wrinkles that I think we didn't see. That double move for touchdown on me, insert on that key 4th down pass that I gave up. But no, I think I really just think they just executed a little better than us tonight.
Do you think the lack of a pass rush put a strain on the guys in the back end?
No, I mean I think I think it's very challenging when you lose, Justin Matabike, Kyle Van Noy. I think the guys stepped up well, but I think, Detroit's got a really good O-line. And the four-man rush, I think it's hard to get there. I felt like we could have covered just for a second longer, and a lot of times we would have been right there to sack Goff. So that's that's one of those things where the secondary's got to help the front to be able to get there in time, and the front we expect them to help us to have those bad passes to help us in the back end. So it just kind of was the victim of just rushing coverage, not working together. But I feel like it was very close tonight, but close isn't good enough.
Marlon, what do you think it'll take to find some consistency on defense?
I think turnovers. I just don't. That's kind of what we preached all offseason. That's what we preach really every week, every day. So it's pretty simple. I think you're just not going to win many games if you lose a turnover battle. I think obviously that turnover that they had was just key for them. So we got to chase turnovers, and that just comes from playing disciplined football and kind of making the other team just kind of break, honestly, and we weren't able to do that tonight.
Marlon, to that, you guys did talk a lot about turnovers this offseason, and it looked like during camp that was a big part of what the defense was doing. Just how frustrating is it that hasn't really translated to the regular season, at least not yet?
It's something you guys keep working at. I think it's something you just really got to keep working at. But I think that the key to it is frustrating the offense, and we haven't. Like I said, we got him in a lot of third downs. I felt like we got him in positions we wanted to get him in. We got him in fourth down, and we just weren't able to really throw the offense off. I feel like they kind of did whatever they wanted to do kind of all night, and we knew they were going to go for it on fourth down, and they just simply executed better than us, and we never got them off schedule, and it's really hard if the offense never gets off schedule.
That's some good information. Okay. That is some good information. If you all don't know and you're new to the stream and new to Bowie TV, I hope you all are subscribed. I do something called Use Your Clues. Okay. And you should be using your clues all throughout. All right. Because I have my trusty notebook with me. I hope you have one with you all. And if you don't, that's fine. Just still use your clues. Okay. That was a telling response. Frankie Louvu's still bringing all of the juice and the energy, but we're seeing a kind of ramp up, right, this year, particularly because exactly what Coach Joe Wood Jr. is saying, they got a plan for him now. See, sometimes it's a little bit better when you got people they don't know. They don't have to necessarily plan for it. They're showing that, and perhaps that's that anticipation there. Going back to a Bobby Wagner in the season that he's having right now. So I like that. And I hope you all found that explanation helpful. But we got to see how this progresses. I think this is still a thing, right? Because it's still, gotta make space for Frankie Louvu to do his thing. You did hear his name a couple of times in the win over Las Vegas, but it's a ramp up, and that's fine. It's fine, but still, I wanted to ask, and it was enlightening to hear Coach Witt say, "Hey, we just talked about that this week, right? And how teams are treating him. Okay, now they're aware of how he's being treated. Let's see what adjustments are made, if any." Right? Because I because of that, now I'm watching more focused and watching what's happening, especially, with Frankie. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. They treat him like he's a scary person. I get it. Hey, listen, last year I made a comment and I meant it. And it was, I don't know about anybody else, but I would not want Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner running at me at the same time. No way. Okay. And then all these other people, it's too much. So they have to plan accordingly. They certainly have to plan accordingly. Love button, fire emoji, not a particular clip for him in this episode. I don't think we do anyway. But love button fire emoji for Von Miller. Can we give it up for Von Miller? Stop talking about these people call him old. Stop calling him old. Now, he took out half of the Raiders offensive line, and then they showed him on the sidelines getting oxygen. I felt the oxygen part, because I said that may have been me as well. But at the same token, give it up for Von Miller. Tremendous job. In addition to the team there. Let's get into after the game press conference. Most of these are clips of Marcus Mariota and some of the things that I want to highlight that he said after the game. Marcus, very emotional, just very, just all the things. Let's get into them.
And their defense had stopped the run pretty well the first couple games. What do you think you're doing so well to have success like that?
Again, I think it just came down to mano a mano. I thought our guys did a great job up front of kind of executing their blocks. You could feel it even as the first couple of drives are going. They were leaning on them, and it's just a credit to those guys up front.
I do see a question. Speaking of, a credit to the offensive line, I do see a question about Brandon Coleman. I do think we have a clip there from the press conference today. So we'll get into that in a moment. Just hold on to that thought, because that is a very important point. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the episode about the offensive line. So we're gonna get into that, because there's certainly been some interesting shifts there. Let's get into the next clip.
What did you see on McNichols' touchdown run?
I really thought he got tackled like 4 times through the course of that, and then he popped out. And he's a dear friend of mine, because we've been in a couple places together. And to see him have success, he's always been such a good player for us. And he does so much in the pass game, probably more than people even realize in terms of blocking. And for him to get an opportunity to make a few plays like he did today was really cool.
So back to Jeremy McNichols, because we got to give flowers. We give flowers here. We also do love button and fire emojis. We do love button. That's if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, we do fire emojis. Okay. If you're on both, you can do both. You hit the love button and fire emoji. Jeremy McNichols, and some may not have known that information that Marcus Mariota and Jeremy McNichols have played together before. Right. So that's all the connections. There's a lot of connections with this team and, coaching staff as well as players. And so that play, it had to be, we know it was at least 3 people, but I think he definitely broke 2 other tackles. He broke away from 2 other people. Now I want to go back to a moment where I'm not sure if we have the clip. We have so many clips, you all, but using your clues, because one of the things that Coach Quinn was talking about in training camp for the running back room was breaking tackles. So a lot of that. Okay. So I know you're not going to make all of them. You're not going to break all of them, you all. But Jeremy McNichols has that ability. This was like 5 different people. And at one point, it was 3 people that was trying to bring him down at the same time. And they were unsuccessful in their feat. So give it up. Love button fire emoji for Jeremy McNichols. I think that's very important. Let's go on to the next clip.
Returns on special teams. How does that help kind of energize your offense, especially early, a 69-yard return on the opening kickoff? How does that help you get started?
It creates momentum. And when you're able to kind of ride that momentum, especially into that first touchdown drive, it's huge. It's a great way to start the game. And then, our young receiver made an unbelievable play on that punt return, and really at a point in the game where it could have flipped either way, right? And he created just that momentum for us, and I think that's how we were able just to kind of get things rolling again and score a bunch of points. So when you're able to play a complete game like that in all 3 phases, it makes this team hard to stop.
I knew there was a special teams clip somewhere, because I'm a special teamer. Somebody who really puts a lot of emphasis on how important that part of the game is. And you saw it. You saw it. Now, in the Green Bay game, going back to week 2, there were opportunities there with great starting field position, but the offense couldn't maximize on it. So in week 3, you saw not only did the offense maximize on it in most occasions, you saw Jalen Lane actually succeed and just score, touchdown. Because, hey, listen, that's the ultimate goal. Because the best starting field position is in the red zone for a touchdown. Let's just keep that real. May I be very transparent with you all for a moment? Love button fire emoji if you are all right with me being very transparent with you for a moment. And hey, listen, I don't really, I get, it's objective. It's objective. And I have to do that because I want to do a great, objective and fair. And I have to do that because I want to be that for you all and for what I do in my job. But listen, when Jalen scored the touchdown and then we're all like waiting because there was some penalty and all that. And, the officials announced in the stadium that, the touchdown, it stands, but he was explaining whatever it was that they were explaining. Because I don't, I watched the entire Washington Commanders sideline. It was like every player, coach, staff member completely erupted at that moment. They were so happy for Jalen. And I literally say, I did like this. This is why you got to watch the show and be a part of the Bowie TV family. I was like, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. I think Jalen is about to make me mess up my makeup. Wait, hold on. I know I had on waterproof mascara. I have on waterproof mascara, everybody. But whoa, I'm a little emotional. Oh my goodness. Because I knew it, I saw it, and I'm using my clues. Right? I used the clue of just doing my research on them and remembering how ecstatic special coordinator Larry Izzo was about drafting him. I mean, he was thrilled. And I'm a special teamer. So I'm like, okay, Debo, and I know there's some folks that, hold their breath like Debo is too valuable to return kicks. Listen, that is a very important role. And Debo has done an outstanding job at it. Okay. So let him do it. There were so many people that were like, you really think Debo is going to return kicks? Absolutely. They're not doing anything in practice and during training camp just to shoot the breeze. That's what he's doing. That's a job. That's one of his roles. That's one of his tasks. That's what he's spending his time on task doing that. And so with that moment, I just, I started watering a little bit. I didn't cry. It wasn't nothing like that, you all, but I think I almost did. I think I literally almost did. So, but I didn't. At any rate, shall we move on? Let's move on. Now we're going to get into some of the clips, you all, from Dan Quinn's presser today. Are you still with me in this live Bowie television recording? Hopefully you are. This is from the Coaching from the Couch series, your Washington Commanders update. I'm your host, Candi Waller. I cover the Washington Commanders on site. You can find Bowie TV on Comcast channels 190 and 1097 if you're in the Prince George's County, Maryland area. I'm going to keep on keeping on with the clips here and hopefully you all are subscribed to the YouTube channel. And we also air and share all of that as well on the television channel. So you can see, hopefully, exclusive look into games and join the press conferences, all of that content that we share with you all throughout the week from practices and games and all of that stuff. So let's get into some of Coach Quinn's press conferences. Let's see what he says here.
And how did you feel Chris Paul and Andrew Wiley did at guard?
Yeah, I knew that would come up to go. I was pleased with Chris inside, the strength of him, Nikki, and that we knew that going into camp and where it was. And all four of the guards, like we're just, still kind of in the early days with Chris and Andrew and Nick and Brandon to go. And so it may take a little bit of time to sort itself out to go, but to see Chris, he deserved that chance to go battle for it. I thought he had an excellent camp, and he was ready to go fight. And I'm not gonna say throw his hat in the ring like that cliche, but like he was really ready to go prove himself and execute and do that at a high level. I'd been impressed, with the Raiders, especially at linebacker. I thought they had square, they were strong, they could play, and they had established they'd played the well run in the first 2 games. So we knew that would be a challenge, but I thought he answered the bell.
Someone asked earlier about Brandon Coleman, and say, listen, inactive, even for myself. I said, whoa, okay, didn't expect that. Coach's decision, not injury related. Okay, all right, because we do know that he went out of the game for a moment in Green Bay. We do know that, okay? Shoulder situation, all right? We'll see what happens, you all. We'll see what happens. I did definitely said inactive was a stretch a bit. But let's keep our eyes on this one and use our clues. Now, yes, the offensive line, I think, did good. Now, there's some areas, you all, where the pre-snap penalties are still like, because you just don't want to give away yards or set yourself back. You don't want to give away yards from the defensive perspective. You don't want to set yourself back from an offensive perspective. One thing that Marcus Mariota said in his press conference, after game press conference, to the point of the team being so resilient, he made the comment, he said, we don't blink. And I love it. I think that's fantastic. I think it's phenomenal, right? You just, the mistake happens. Sometimes they keep rolling. And we've seen the team do that, and it's part of their identity. That's great. But to be able, that's part of mistake-free football. I mean, it's not going to be perfect all the time. But, sometimes there are repeat offenders, stuff going on. You might want to pay attention to that. So we'll see, because the offensive line played well. Like I said, you didn't hear Max Crosby's name really until the end. And, so they did the job. Was the job done? Yes, the job was done. But this is something that we still need to watch in terms of what happens on the offensive line, especially when Sam Cosmi comes back, because that should be on the near horizon, right? That should be on the near horizon here. So let's stick a pin in that one, but let's keep using our clues on that one as well. They did well, but something to certainly watch. Let's get into the next clip.
Dan, how did Connerly hold up? I know they were moving Crosby around a lot, but how did he hold up generally?
Yeah, I thought it was a good day. Of the 3 games, I thought it was his best one. I thought this one and the Giants one were his 2 best DA to go through it. You see the movements also. The guy can pull, he can get on, like sometimes you can just say just in one phase, but he's had a hell of a matchups, for his first 3 games to go into it. And sometimes you go and you learn through the fights, and where do you grow? And I would say, like, it's cool to see the game that didn't go well a week ago and then grow from it, get the lessons. How do I get better against a fantastic player? Did it all go great? No, but there was a lot to like. And I think that's what you're looking for, as a coach. Are we learning? Are you growing? Or are you stuck in the blender? And so for him, the growth at times is tough and it sucks when you go through it, but there's also when you come through the other way, and you gain some confidence too, David, to say, okay, this is, is some of the highest levels that you go to, and you grow and you keep digging in.
We'll see what happens with Josh Connerly Jr., because like I said earlier in the episode, my goodness, good grief. What a welcome to the NFL he has had. Wow. But he's holding up. He's holding up. And I think he's getting stronger every single day because of it. I want to acknowledge this question here. I do want to acknowledge this question that came through about Jeff Driscoll. I saw Jeff Driscoll on Sunday. He is on the practice squad for the Raiders. Don't know, do not know at all why they didn't bring him back, because the Raiders signed him to their practice squad, he was still available up until like right